Gemma, bonjour.
Bonjour.
It's a pleasure to have you here.
Oh, thank you so much.
It's really a pleasure. You were part of the jury in 2012 with John Bowman as president. Which memories do you keep of that experience?
Wow, I mean, I can't believe it was 2012. It was so long ago. It was brilliant. It was a great jury. We had, John Bowman, James Gray, I'm trying to remember now, Olga Kurylenko, who I knew from the Bond film, Marie-Josée Croze. It was lovely. And I remember the film that won, which is really, that's what it's about, isn't it? Films that stay with you. It was a Danish film. And it's just a great this is such a great festival, I think, for just getting everybody together and celebrating films.
And how would you define John Bowman as a president?
He was quite relaxed. He's beaucoup âgé à l'époque, and but he was old, and he was quite reserved, and very dignified and humble, very, very humble. And he let all of us have our opinions, in the debate at the end. He's very modest. I actually was quite surprised how modest he was, actually. And he asked me to do a film with him afterwards, which is what's amazing about these festivals. But then it never happened, like most films.
Do you remember the first time you thought to become an actress?
Yeah, it was very gradual for me, because in my family, nobody was related to the arts in any way. I come from a family very humble, and my father is a metal worker. My mother's a cleaner, and so I always liked performing, showing off.
Yeah.
But I think it was when I didn't even know that being an actor was a profession, really, until I was about 16, and I was doing a lot of amateur dramatics as a hobby. And there was a lady there that said, you should really do this as a further thing. You should go to college and study acting. And I was like, okay then, I just thought, let's see what happens. But it wasn't really until I was probably about 17 or 18 that I was inspired by the films of Lars von Trier.
Yes.
I saw Breaking the Waves and Dancer in the Dark in quite quick succession.
Yes.
And I was so inspired.
By Björk?
Yeah, because I was a big fan of her music.
Yeah.
She was like my hero. And then when I saw her in that film, I realized that films weren't just about big Hollywood, shiny, blockbuster, Mary Poppins, that sort of thing I grew up with. They could be really, dark and tell a huge story. And I was amazed at how she was able to perform that role as being a singer, Yeah. So I think then that's when I realized I'd like to give it a go.
And did you like Catherine Deneuve in it?
Yeah, oh my gosh, it's such a beautiful relationship they have in it. It's so touching. It's such a sad film. Yeah.
Did you have any other models?
Yeah, growing up, I guess. When I grew up, I didn't watch many films growing up. My mum wasn't really interested in them, so I didn't, growing up, have an icon or anything. But then I started studying Julianne Moore. I loved Anthony Hopkins, who remains like my favorite actor of all time. I loved Gena Rowlands.
Gena Rowlands,
yeah. So all sorts, but those were the ones, I guess, that stood out to me. And then as I became older, Isabelle Huppert, yeah.
You went to the prestigious Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts of London.
Yeah.
Sorry for my
Non,
English.
ça c'était parfait. Pas facile à dire.
No, it's not perfect.
C'était parfait.
What did you learn in
At the
that prestigious establishment.
Yeah, it was invaluable to me because, as I said before, I came from very humble, modest background. I didn't know anything about classical theatre, Shakespeare, all of the tradition that we have in UK with theatre, and it taught me to have a completely huge range, to be a versatile actor. It taught me to be able to do theatre, radio, music, opera, and also film acting. So I think if I hadn't have gone there, maybe I would be a quite limited actor now, doing very contemporary things, very close to myself. But going there, it gave me, the confidence to stretch as an actor.
You come back very often to theatre. Why is it so important for you?
Well, that's where I started. It's my reason why I wanted to be an actor in the first place, I think. I love the experience of being in a company, It's a similar thing being on a film set. It's a company of actors and their crew, but on stage it really is a company. And I used to be in a very contemporary physical theatre group. So we would make theatre ourselves, devise theatre, and I just love that, and I love the first few nights on stage when it's really fresh and you're completely petrified, it gives you real excitement, real buzz, and also you have control of you don't have control of your performance, but there's no coupé, so you're in it and it's yours and it happens, and
it's a kind of freedom.
It's a freedom.
And you even do a musical?
Yeah.
So you like to sing on stage?
I like singing. I'm not a very good singer, but I enjoy singing. So I did a musical, and it was really, really difficult. I actually have a lot of respect for anyone that does musical theatre because it's so demanding physically. I'm not sure if I'd do it again. It was so tough. Like during the day, I wouldn't speak. I couldn't talk to anyone. I was just preserving my voice.
Your voice.
Yeah. But it was an experience. So yeah.
After the James Bond movie Quantum of Solace, which made you famous, you went to Hollywood and you did a few blockbusters as Clash of Titans.
Yeah,
I don't know,
Titans.
Titans.
Yeah, Choc de Titans.
And Prince of India, yes. And but you come back very quickly to Britain and to independent movies.
Yeah.
Do you think that Hollywood wasn't made for you, or you weren't made for Hollywood?
I think at the time, it was very different in the industry to how it is now for women. And in those films, not the Bond film, I have to say I had a really good time making that film, but the other ones, I didn't feel very empowered. I didn't feel, like I had a voice, and I didn't feel comfortable actually. And I always felt good doing independent film because I don't know, my taste is that as well. I like independent film. It's my passion. Usually the stories are better, the characters are stronger or more intricate, more subtle. And I felt like I had a voice on set. So I remember doing Prince of Persia, and then I did this really tiny film for a micro-budget called The Disappearance of Alice Creed. And I remember my agent saying, don't do that film, it's so tiny, and also it's really risky. But I wanted to do it. It's like I needed to do something like that after doing this very big film. And I've done that a lot in my career, I think, go between all sorts. That interests me as well, to mix it up.
And the second one was Tamara Drewe with Stephen Frears.
Yeah.
We are going to see two clips.
Oh gosh, I haven't seen this for so long.
One is very short. It's your incredible arrival in the story.
Yeah, the hot pants. Yeah.
In the story. And the other one is a scene I would like to speak with you about.
Okay.
So, on va voir 2 extraits de Tamara Drewe by Stephen Frears. How was it to work with Stephen Frears?
I mean, obviously, he's made so many incredible films, and you know, I didn't know what to expect. He's one of these directors that what I think he does is choose the script very, very well, and then choose the actors very well, and the crew, and lets them go.
Yeah.
It's like he doesn't interfere too much. He knows what he wants, and he gently kind of nudges you along, but he trusts the actors and the script. And I remember Tamsin Greig, who is in this film, I remember her saying to me, he doesn't give us any notes. Like, I wish he'd give us some notes. I said, yeah, I know, he doesn't give any notes. And she said, I find it really frustrating. I said, I think he's just happy with what you're doing. Yeah, it was great. And it was a really happy time. I made some really good friends on that. And it's a long time ago now. Oh, my God. I haven't actually seen the film. I don't watch my stuff. So I haven't seen that since it came out in whenever it came out, 2009 or something.
Yeah. Did he tell you why he chose you?
I think he said I look like a line drawing because the book, it's based on Posey
graphic
Simmons.
Novel,
yeah, it's a she's you know, it's a graphic novel. So I think he said you look like
the drawing.
A drawing. I think that's why he chose me. I don't know. He's not a man of many words, Stephen.
Well, no, it's true.
Yeah.
I did a masterclass with him and he didn't speak at all.
Yeah.
What was the most difficult thing to achieve for you in that movie?
Stephen wanted me to change my voice for it. And
why?
Because at the time my voice was more high up here, and he got a speech coach to make me speak like this. And I found it really odd. Yeah. But I did it, you know, because that's what he wanted. So I remember being quite self-conscious. And obviously, so Tamara is a strange character. She sleeps around, you know, with everyone in the story. So, yeah, it was to try and show her quite honestly being this sort of lost person, insecure lost person that's quite sad. And to try and, but she's the lead character, so also to make her watchable, you know, so you don't dismiss her as an audience member. But I think that was evident in the writing. It's Moira Buffini who wrote it, who I worked with again on Byzantium, and yeah, she's a very good writer. So.
For the scene we just saw, what is the part of preparation and instinct?
I don't remember shooting that scene. I don't think we had very long. So I think that was quite intuitive. Yeah, I don't really like to prepare too much with big scenes, in you know, emotional scenes or whatever. You just do it with the actor, and I think if you're connected to the character, then it will happen. Yeah. It depends on the scene. Sometimes there's a lot of preparation, sometimes not. But I think for that it was just we did it.
What do you expect in general of a director?
I want them to create a space where we can experiment and get it wrong and feel free. But I also want them to have vision. I think they have to be able to visualize the film in entière, like the whole film, so that we can concentrate on our part. And so sort of like to hold us all, the actors and the crew, so that we feel free and safe to do what we need to do. Yeah, and again, it depends on the project.
What was your feeling when he asked you to do the first scene we saw?
I didn't know that they were shooting it in the way they were shooting it.
Really?
I'm really naive. I was so naive. And also, I don't like to watch playback. I'm not the act. I really detest it, actually.
On the set?
Yeah, I hate it. I hate having screens around. I hate hearing it on the cans, when you hear people with their headphones. It's so distracting, and I don't want to know. So I tend not to look at anything, like even the setup. Now I do, actually. I know where the cameras are, and I know what the shot's going to be. But then I didn't. And then when they were shooting that one of me walking with the hot pants, I had no idea that's what they were shooting until I saw the film. I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, that was a fun scene to shoot though, because it was with all the gang, and they're very funny and all, So.
Do you go to dailies today?
No.
No, never.
Only if I'm producing something. So even that depends on the project. So if it's very personal and emotional, then I don't watch dailies. If it's something that I feel like I can judge objectively because the role is quite far from me or whatever, then I'll watch the dailies. But it really depends. I tend not to. I don't want to judge myself while I'm in the midst of performing a role.
Mm-hmm. Do you dream about your character?
Yeah, sometimes, especially if I'm doing theatre. Yeah, it gets really in my skin because we're doing it a lot every day.
2 years after Tamara Drewe, you played another character by another graphic novel by the same author, and it's Gemma Bovery.
Yeah.
Do you accept because the character was called Gemma? Sorry about that. No.
Do you know, it's funny because I was quite surprised Anne Fontaine chose me, and I know she was talking to lots of actresses and met lots of actresses for the role, and it just happened. She was like, I didn't want it to be you because you'd done Tamara Drewe, because it's the same graphic novelist. And I didn't want it to be you because you're called Gemma. But then I did the reading, and she was like, oh, I think it has to be you. So, yeah.
Was the challenge to play in French part of the excitation of the project?
Yeah, it was. At the time, I didn't speak any French, so I learned French to a certain level for the film, which was exciting for me. It was a big challenge. It's strange playing in another language. It's really...
Does that change the way of acting?
Yeah, it does. I've done 2 films in French, and you're not ever quite sure what you're doing. Like, because I'm not fluent, it's like when you're learning a piece of music and you're remembering it while you're performing it. It's not automatic, There's always a part of your mind that's thinking, how do I pronounce this? How, what's next? And I was going to do another French film a couple of years ago with a lot of language, a lot of monologues for me. And I thought the only way I could do this is to memorize it, like I would if I was doing any English performance, to the point where it's automatic. Yeah. And then hopefully inject some life into it on the day. But it is different. But I think with Gemma Bovery it worked because she, like me, didn't speak fluent French, so her French was stilted and self-conscious, and it happens to everyone, even at the interview.
We are going to see an extract of Gemma Bovery, and it's funny what you said because you are such at ease in the scene we are going to see.
Okay.
I think it's amazing the way you are so natural and so subtle and so...
Merci.
No, it's true. All the differences of expression, and it's amazing. How do you work on it?
Je me souviens, oops, sorry.
No,
because we just watched that.
You can speak French.
Avec Anne Fontaine, elle est vraiment spécifique. Et j'ai fait beaucoup de répétitions avec elle avant le tournage. Elle était très spécifique about the accent.
Yes.
I remember because I haven't seen that since it came out. Je me souviens, Anne, elle était un peu obsédée avec la poubelle, de façon que je dis la poubelle. Mais je ne sais pas. Je pense que j'ai fait beaucoup de c'était en fait beaucoup de répétitions avec Anne, pas avec Fabrice, parce qu'avec lui, c'est un truc de fraîche et on ne sait jamais ce qu'il va faire. Il est un peu,
Is it easy to find the place besides him?
On est très différents comme personnalité. Il faut donner l'espace à lui parce qu'il parle beaucoup et il est une grande personnalité. Pour moi, c'était juste observer, let him be. Et en fait, ça a beaucoup marché avec les deux personnages. It was funny, the contrast, because Gemma is she's very soft and vulnerable, un peu partout. And he's very like, tac, tac, tac. So it worked well.
Was he improving during the scene?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, il a fait beaucoup d'improvisation. Et à l'époque, je parlais pas très bien le français, j'ai pas compris tout. Et particulièrement Fabrice, parce qu'il parle très, florally, il parle très rapidement. Et en fait, j'ai pas compris du tout ce qu'il a dit la plupart du temps. Et ça a marché, bien.
And did you like to play with him in spite of all that?
Yeah.
Yes. It's quite a challenge, another challenge.
Yeah, a novel challenge. Yeah. No, it was a good shoot.
How do you like to work with your partners? What do you expect from them?
I like it when we can get to know each other. I've never actually worked with a director who, like Mike Lee, someone I'd like to work with, who, if you don't see each other in the film, he'll keep you apart and you won't meet in real life. And because I really like it when I know the person well and I can trust them. And there's playfulness. Even if you're doing something very serious and dismal, if you can trust the other person and there's like an easy jeu, that is how I like to work. So for me it's about trust and spending time. I don't like it when there's friction. Mm-hmm. I think it doesn't bring out the best performances in both people, and sometimes that happens with actors.
Did it happen to you?
Yeah. Early on, not so much now, because I'm quite selective about who I work with, and I get the information. I'm like, so what are they like? I ask people, because for me life's too short to work with people that create problems. I want to have a nice time and I want to enjoy it. So, so now I always have a good time when I'm working.
And how do you like to work your character? Do you like to think a lot about it? You read the script many times? You just think about him, about her? Yeah,
again, it depends on the character, it depends on the film, the project. Sometimes it's a very intuitive thing. I've done films where it's all improvised, and then the character is really coming from within, and it doesn't require so much research for me. But then there are I've done films, a lot of period films,
yes,
and then you have to really do a lot of research. And
do you like that?
Yeah, I love it, and I love working with the writer as well. So I love being in that space with the writer where you can really dig down and find out from them what they're thinking and collaborate. But yeah, it really does depend. I work very physically usually, so I'm a physical person, not so much a cerebral person. So usually I find the physicality first and walk around with it, and that really informs me how the character will be.
And the costume too?
Yeah, the costume, shoes. I played a nun once, and that was amazing for informing the character, because as soon as I had this, it's called the wimple, like the nun, and your face is like only that much visible, and it all became so restrained and stiff, and it really helped me. The opposite of Tamara Drewe.
You work with a few French directors?
Yes.
Marjane Satrapi,
Yes.
Julie Delpy,
Yes.
Radou Mileanu,
Yeah.
Arnaud Despalières.
C'est vrai, pas mal de...
Does that make a change?
Yeah, I think there's a cultural thing. Like, I mean, someone like Marjane is, you know, she's her own person. She's a really good friend of mine, you know, like, she's very rock and roll and visual. But, yeah, Arnaud Despalières is making really, you know, like film d'auteur, very radical, and there were no rules, you know. I remember on that set, it was like anything could happen, because in the UK and in America, the rules of filming are very strict. You cannot film over a certain time, and the turnaround between end of day and the next day is very strict. It was just like, whatever. I remember we just kept doing this scene I did with Adèle Exarchopoulos, and it went on and on and on for hours into the night. Tout le monde était complètement crevé, c'était juste un bordel. Mais c'était cool en fait. J'étais là pour toi, pour ça. I was up for it, you know, because it's a different style of filmmaking, and yeah, and with Julie Delpy the same thing, where it's much more free, you know. It's like a French way of working. Yeah.
One of your characters in a film called Virginia and Vita said, independence has no sex. At the time, you were one of the first vocal campaigner for Me Too, Time's Up. What decided you to go in that fight?
Well, just to be clear, I was never like affected by the Harvey Weinstein thing.
Yeah.
I kept quite far away from him. But it happened, and I was involved in this like group called Time's Up. From the very early beginnings, I was invited to a meeting, and it was lots of actresses and female filmmakers that were getting together to discuss how we could change the environment on set so it's safer. And there was also a way of them all talking about what had happened to them, like, you know, suddenly being asked to do a sex scene when it wasn't in the script, and nudity, and all sorts of things that they were unhappy with. And I came a couple of times to these meetings, and I'd had some bad experiences in my career at the beginning, but, you know, nothing crazy, but just things I wasn't happy about not feeling empowered and not feeling like I had a voice. And for some reason, I just got asked. Actually, I remember it was another actress, Felicity Jones, that said, Gemma, why don't you take the reins on this? And I was like, why me? You know, she said, you're really good at getting people together. So I did, and I was part. There were many of us. It wasn't just me, but I was part of this thing. And actually, it was a really amazing thing, because oftentimes women in the film industry don't get to meet each other as much, because in films there might be one or two female roles, and you don't get to meet your colleagues. You know, you don't get to work with them. You might meet them at a festival, or you might meet them at a party, but not actually get together and work. And I made so many great alliances during that time. So yeah, and then I made this short film called Leading Lady Parts, which was a reaction to all this, and I managed to get this amazing cast together that I cast it myself. I was like, yeah, that's because of the meetings that I had, and making friends with people in the industry. So.
And you create a production society?
I did, yeah.
Yes,
called
for
Rebel
giving
Park.
more voice and more presence to women in cinema, behind or in front of the camera?
Yeah, I think at the time when we formed, there was definitely an imbalance. It's very different now.
Do you think things have really changed now?
In the UK, I can only speak for that, because that's where I predominantly work. There's more, you know, like the British film industry, they kind of, if you're a woman filmmaker, you'll probably be listened to quicker than you were 10 years ago. it's still difficult in any case to make a film. And whether you're experienced man, woman, anyone, it's really, really hard at the moment. But yeah, it's definitely better. And my company, we always try to hire women behind the camera in any department. You know, we always try and make sure that there's as equal men and women on set as possible. So that's a big thing for us. But yeah, it's definitely changed.
And you work a lot with women directors.
Yeah, yes.
Does that make a change on the set?
It depends. Again, like I think it depends on the story. It depends on the film that you're making. Like I don't like to compare men and women directors because, you know, I know some male directors I've worked with that are so sensitive and so giving and so open and so welcoming, like Dominic Savage, who I worked with on the Escape. You know, he's like a woman in a man's body, you know. So, and then I've met, you know, Anne Fontaine is like super,
yes.
You know, like, so it's hard to compare.
Yeah.
But I do think that sometimes if you're playing a female character that's going through something, it doesn't hurt to have women around that you can talk to about it, that can relate, but it doesn't mean that men can't relate either. I'm at a point in my life where I don't want there to be like a divide, like men and women. I just think we should just get on with it now together. So, but at the time we had to do that because, so my company now, we hire a lot of male directors as well as female directors. Yeah.
One of the first movies you produced was Summerland, and with a female director, Jessica Swall. It's about a writer who has to take care of a young boy during the war, and we are going to see a clip of that. You like to have strong characters and free characters. What did you like in that project?
Jessica Swale, who directed and wrote it, is my best friend, one of my best friends. Yeah. I'd worked with her previously on a play called Nell Gwyn. I liked the writing, and I liked the character. It was very, very blunt, and I had not played a character like that yet. Yes. So usually I was playing very charming people, and I just wanted to go, nah, do. And the relationship between them is really special, and I like humour in characters, even when they are really going through terrible things. I think that's quite natural in life. It's a very English and Irish way of being, actually, is to find the humour in the dark times. So that was infused in the script as well. So yeah, and also it's just great to give a first-time filmmaker their first opportunity to make something, and now she's doing all sorts of great things. So I was proud to do that.
Weren't you afraid to play bisexual woman? And
is it complicated for me talking about this? No, not at all. I have my aunt is gay, so I grew up with that in my life. It was very normal for me. And I have played quite a lot of lesbians.
Yes. Yes.
Weirdly.
We'll see another one
I have
soon.
For some reason. I don't know why. But and my friend, he said to me, "You know, you're a bit of a lesbian icon." I said, "I don't know why is this?" But yeah, to me, love is love, and there's no. But it's also, it's good. This was a period film set in the 1940s, so obviously it was illegal in the UK then to be gay. So there was a lot of, you know, pressure and a lot of people struggling with their identities and how to be. And so it's always interesting that actually the lesbian characters I've played have been in the past, because that's kind of an interesting time to talk about it. When it was illegal in the UK.
You did a lot of period movies.
Of
des films en costume et des films d'époque.
Oh yeah, j'adore.
Why?
I think I love to be transported into another time and the challenges it poses as an actor. Because, for example, I did a TV series recently where it was set in the 1960s. 60s, yes.
And Funny Woman.
Yeah. And
that you produced.
Yes, yeah. And it's a different way of performing. If you really honour the period, you have to honour the way that people spoke then and the way that they moved and the way that they... I don't like seeing contemporary performance in a period film. I find it really distracting. Like, when sometimes you see these period films where everyone's speaking louche, it's like
today
people... Yeah, for me, that's my taste. I like it to be, precise. I'm just really attracted to period films. I don't know why, they just get me. So, but I have done some really modern stuff too, and that's also, just as fulfilling, but I don't know what it is. I love wearing the costumes and, being somewhere else, being transported.
Do you keep them, the costumes?
Sometimes. I have Tamara Drewe's shorts still. I don't have that many, actually. Usually they go into storage afterwards, but yeah, I have some.
A French actress, Simone Signoret, said that one day she saw her dress of Casque d'Or, which is a great movie, portée par une autre.
No.
And she was... comme si on lui avait volé quelque chose.
No, that's not right. No. Especially if it was made for you, But, yeah.
We are going to see another period movie and another lesbian character. Sorry, it's about Virginia Woolf and
Vita Sackville West.
Yes, and their love affair. How do you feel when you watch you like that?
Oh, I just hate watching myself, I have to say. I never get used
Sorry
to
about
it.
that.
C'est bizarre, en fait, j'ai pas vu ce film depuis...
La sortie?
Yeah, c'est bizarre. But it's always funny because you go back, because each performance is a moment in time in your life, and who knows what's going on. I definitely can see, I don't know, it's interesting to see the way I'm different in different things. I don't know, I just, it's weird.
It's not the audace of the subject that interests me in that scene. It's the way you work with all these words and without any partner.
Yeah.
Just you are in front of the camera and you see. How did you work that piece? I
remembered that day because they did this really super close-up shot, and I think they boxed the camera off so that I was looking right down the lens, so I could see myself in the lens, which is...
The lens?
Yeah, so it was like I was doing it to myself, and I memorized the text. I kept doing it over. I wanted it to be quick, so it was quite hard to memorize that, and I was doing a very specific accent as well from the time. It's a period accent, which is a strange English accent from the time. Anyway, yeah, I think Elizabeth Debicki, who plays Virginia, we did our sides on the same day. So she did her side, I did my side, but we didn't look at each other. Yeah.
So, but
I think I did it to her when I think I was on the other side of her camera giving her the text. But she wasn't there when I was doing it.
Did you like that moment, or was it really like a challenge or an exercise? Or?
I was nervous that day because it was a long passage. I mean, obviously in the film it's cut down, but it was a really big letter and they shot the whole thing. So I think I remember that day thinking, oh God, I got to do this weird text. Yeah, but I like being challenged, so it's okay.
The character has existed. So
yeah, I know her family very well. I'm friends with her granddaughter, very close with her granddaughter.
Does that change the way you work?
Yeah, because it meant I got really good access to the character, private articles, and I went into her house, her room, felt her clothes, got really, very personal touches. And it was nice because I really wanted to... everyone knows about Virginia Woolf, and there's been many depictions of her, but Vita is a really amazing character, and I just wanted to bring her to life. It's funny because Elizabeth Debicki is very tall, everyone says this, right? And actually Vita Sackville-West was very tall, but I remember looking up a lot at Elizabeth, and it should have been that way, you know. I should have been like being masculine, you know, over her, but it was really hard. I wish I'd stood on an apple box now. They did offer it to me, and I was like, no, I will not stand on an apple box. But I wish I had, because like the kiss, for example, would have been a different thing the other way around. Anyway, those are the things I think about afterwards.
And de quelle manière le personnage est proche de vous? Vita.
That one. I can be quite masculine at times, but then, you know, and actually she's not very close to me. Apart from her passion for gardening, she was a really incredible gardener and has this beautiful estate near where I live called Sissinghurst, which is a really incredibly beautiful garden. That was a pioneering gardener at the time, and I have a big passion for horticulture. So that, I guess, is it.
Yeah.
And a passion for literature and language, I guess. But apart from that, she was a real character. She would make anyone fall in love with her, man, woman, anyone. And she had these crazy love affairs all over the world with everyone. She's a really interesting character. Yeah.
Which character is the nearest of you?
The one I played in... it's funny, actually. There's two, and they're very different.
Yeah.
One is Funny Woman.
Yeah.
Barbara Parker is her name, because she's a clown, and I'm very clowny. Like, I'm silly. And
really?
I like making people laugh. I'm quite goofy and silly. The other one is the character I played in The Escape, that is based on my mum and my grandmother. And that's like the other side of me, which is like cold as ice.
Really? I don't believe it.
And can be quite detached. So I think those two, they're the closest to me, but they're very different.
Do you listen to music sometimes to create your characters?
Yeah. It's a big part of my preparation, actually.
Really? Yeah.
And sometimes I use it on set, like if I really... Not so much these days, because I find I can get into scenes very quickly without too much help these days. But back then, I would use particularly classical music to help me create a mood or a sense of an emotion, or psych myself up, like get energized or whatever. But I like to create soundtracks for each character, and I have them all on my phone. Like, recent characters. It's quite nice, actually. Like, it's not just the character; it's like the world of the piece that you're in. And it doesn't have to be like with Vita and Virginia. There was a lot of electronic music and quite radical stuff, because they were radical characters, radical people, quite forward-thinking. So, yeah, I do. Music is very important to me.
And, do you speak with the director about your
soundtrack?
playlist, or not at all? It's something very personal and...
Yeah, sometimes I do. Sometimes I'll share certain things. But yeah, it is quite personal. And sometimes it's like, if they listen to it, they go, what? You know, probably wouldn't make sense, certain things, but they make sense to me.
Years ago, a French daily called Libération asked the same question to all the directors of the world. The question was simple. It's, why do you film? But if I ask you, why do you play? What would be your answer?
I think it's to understand people and life, and also myself. Like, that's a bit of a selfish thing, but every time you play a role that's very different, you find out something about yourself. You stretch yourself into different places, and it's ultimately to like become more empathetic. like, even if you're playing a psychopath, you have to be able to understand why they do what they do and empathize with them. And so it's sort of stretching your idea of, or understanding of humanity. But then the other side of it is that I really think that being able to entertain people is a gift. And it's a hard world, tough time we live in. And I think being able to give people laughter and enjoyment is really a valuable thing. So that's why, you know, I like making comedy as well, because I think...
You didn't do a lot.
I feel like I have recently, because that's been like my last
the series
2 years of my life has been being really idiotic and throwing myself around and being funny. But yeah, I think it's, you know, entertaining people, to give people something that they can escape into is a good thing. And yeah.
Would you think, like Stendhal, that la beauté n'est qu'une promesse du bonheur?
La beauté n'est une promesse du bonheur.
Beauty is only a promise of happiness.
Oh, wow. Let me think about that. Yeah, it's only a small part, isn't it? Is that's the part, the thing? Beauty is just as...
it's a promise.
It's a promise.
You're not sure it will be achieved.
Oh, okay. I think it's something that is so... I don't know, beauty is so objective, isn't it? Like, you might find something beautiful that I don't. And yeah, it's something that I think, God, I don't know. I don't think we should aspire to beauty. But although then when I watch a film that's beautiful, I'm like, oh my God, you know, beautiful film could be really a devastating film. But anyway, the word beauty means many things, doesn't it?
You've did a lot of movie in every genre. Horror movie, fantastic movie, period movie. What would you say is your main asset as an actress?
Oh, God. I'm so not good at talking about myself in a positive way. I think I bring joy to the set, if I'm really honest. I am a joyful person on set. I like to have fun and yeah, I think I do think I bring out the best in people. I try to make people feel relaxed, and I try to make them feel happy, even if we're doing very, very heavy work, because that's what I think. If somebody's feeling good, I think that's when they can make their best work. So I think that's what I contribute. Yeah.
Do you plan to become a director?
Yeah.
When?
Oh, God. I know, I need to get on with it, don't I? I don't know. I think in the next few years, I think I have a thing in my head that I want to do, and it's very personal, and I don't think I could direct something that's not, not for the first one. I think it has to be very personal for me to do it, which is kind of terrifying, but at the same time, I think that's how I would get something really truthful and kind of unique. So I need to just write the script. I'm in the process of doing it. But yeah, I do want to, because I love working with actors, and I love getting people together. And I think I'm good at that. So I would, I don't think I'd do play in it. I think I'd just direct it.
You won't play in it? No. Will you write it by yourself?
No, I think I'd write with someone. It's not my forte, writing. I'm too self-critical, so... but I love working with writers, so yeah, I'd get someone to write it with me. And
you made, in Vita and Virginia, in Virginia and Vita, your mother was played by Isabella Rossellini. How was it to work with her? Was she a kind of model?
Like, unreal. I really idolize Isabella Rossellini, like even the way I dress and stuff. I'm like, it's very Isabella Rossellini. Wow, I mean, you know, I just loved her when I was actually, you know, she was one of the people when I was growing up that I remember seeing on screen and being captivated by, because she was so beautiful and also strong and unique and all the stuff she did with David Lynch, and also she's funny, you know, like she genuinely is a funny person. So I sort of, and she lives on a farm like me, and she loves animals. Anyway, the day that she came in to play my mum, I sort of had to hold back a little bit, like going, because I can do that with other actors, be a bit like, I love you so much, I loved you in this thing. And some actors find that a bit intimidating if they're shy. So I didn't do that, but she was brilliant, and I just love her. Mm-hmm. She was actually a reference for me on a TV series I did recently called Culprits. Basically every look I have is like Isabella Rossellini in this. I had a mood board of like just Isabella Rossellini, practically, yeah.
Did you tell her?
No.
And you also just made a movie in England, The Critics, with Ian McKellen.
Yeah.
How was it to work with him?
Amazing. He's so fun. He comes from theatre like me, so he's used to playing and just being free, and we had a lot of fun on set, but had to do some quite intricate things on screen, and we're friends now. Like he's just amazing, and it was a real privilege working with him. But he never made me feel like the young actor that I'm working with, you know, because he's so experienced. He's like a boy, you know, he's like a young boy that's happy to be there. And there were some amazing actors in that I love. Leslie Manville, and she played my mum in that. I've had some really good mums in my career. Romola Garai and Mark Strong, and it was a nice one.
Do you think we could see the film in France, in Morocco?
Je ne sais pas. C'était pas moi qui a produit. I hope so. I mean, you know, it's a period film set in the 1930s about theatre and a critic and an actress, and they kind of do like an indecent proposal deal. Mm-hmm. It's quite dark. I don't know.
And do you have any project for the future, as a producer, as an actress? Yeah,
I have a film that I'm making at the beginning of next year. Really, it's another lesbian part, and it's a really amazing script, one of the best I've read for a long time, called Night Electricity, and I'm doing a TV series called Secret Service, with James Marsh directing, who did Man on Wire and Theory of Everything and Shadow Dancer. And I have some other projects that I'm producing that are kind of just about ready to go. Another comedy series, it's a bit like Fleabag. And a musical that I'm producing, and I've got another TV series like The Sopranos, but set in the East End of London, with a really good director called Gerard Johnson, who did this amazing film called Tony. If anyone wants to see that film, it's insane. There's a few things.
How would you define you as a producer?
I think I'm quite hot on the script. So for me, it's script. I love crewing up. So I love the idea. I like when we get the cinematographer together with the director and all of that. But I think I'm quite open. I'm quite an open person when I'm producing. But I have producing partners as well. It's not just me. They do all of the stuff that I don't understand, like budgets and, I'm like, you do that. Sales.
You are for the artistic point of view.
Yeah, very much so.
Stupid question, but which advice would you give to a young girl who wants to be an actress?
I guess that, funnily enough, I came from a background where I didn't have, as I said, any access. So I don't want to be discouraging, because I did it and it's something that's possible. But it is unpredictable as a career. So I think you have to really love it, truly, and not just want to do it because it's fame or whatever. Yeah, I think it demands that you love it, because even if you're like the top of the top, there will be times where things don't go your way, projects fall through, the budget doesn't happen, the film flops, you get a bad reputation, you get a bad review or whatever, you know, these things happen, and you have to be quite resilient and quite strong, and you have to care so much about it that to keep going, you know. So my advice would be just like make sure that you love it and get to know it. Like go to the theatre, go and watch movies, like just see as much as you can see, like inform yourself, read plays, read books, keep informing yourself, because that's what keeps your tank full as an actor. So, and you have to keep that alive, you know, the kind of inspiration. Yeah.
Betty Davis said that most of actors are people who can't bear themselves and they became actors. Would you say it is your case or not at all?
Yeah, not my case, but I see it a lot in actors, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I definitely have seen that, like escaping themselves. Like you'll get a lot of actors that don't like public speaking but enjoy performing a character on stage, because they don't like being themselves on stage, but they like inhabiting a character and performing that. And I have to admit, like, I don't mind that. I don't mind, like, sitting here chatting with you. Don't like bigging myself up, but I enjoy, like, you know, being myself. But I think you're right, that a lot of actors do like to escape themselves. And that's probably what makes them really good actors as well, because they can really inhabit another character.
Okay.
All right.
Yes, all right.
Well done.
The time is up.
You did it in English.
Not really.
You did.
Not
well
really.
done.
Not really. It's easier in French. Sorry about that.
Sorry, I didn't.
I haven't been practicing for a long time.
Oh,
so
you're
it's
very
why.
good.
No. On va passer à quelques questions du public, s'il y en a. Voilà.
God, I hope I didn't offend anybody with my lesbian film.
Really sorry. I won't speak English anymore.
So, hello.
Hi.
So we can see that you've played a lot of very different characters, but at the same time they all embodied something very powerful and something very emotional at the same time. Is that what you're looking for when you play a character? Is that the power and the emotion that can actually come out of a character?
Yeah, I think, you know, when I usually connect with a script in general. I don't just go my bit and read my bit and then, you know, for me it's about whether the film or the story gets me at some point, and if I can be part of that story. So sometimes you'll play a character that doesn't get emotional or doesn't, that's buttoned up or closed or something. But yeah, I think I have to feel moved at some point in the story, whether that be somebody else's character or not, or mine. That's what's important to me. I think every script should move you at some point, for some reason. Yeah. Don't know if that answered your question. Anybody else?
Hello.
Hi.
We have a question with Fiona, my teddy bear. Hi. I like you a lot playing in James Bond films. That's the first thing. And how was the experience, I would like to ask, from that view that, did you watch all the Bond movies? So from this aspect before that. And the second thing, could you imagine yourself playing in a silent movie? How important are words for us today, and how much the gesture and so on this? So could you imagine that?
I would love to do a silent movie more than anything. I love this film, Lulu. My God. I just love that period of time of filmmaking. And yeah, one day I would like to make a silent movie. The question about the Bond film, it was an amazing experience. I was 21, so I was the youngest Bond girl of all time. I had no idea about the legacy of Bond because I grew up in a female household where we didn't watch movies. So I literally didn't know about really how big James Bond was, which sounds ridiculous because everyone else does, but I didn't. So I auditioned for it because my agent told me to, not expecting to get it, and got it, and just did it because it was fun. But the surprise of the legacy and how huge it was, like honestly, I couldn't believe it. I think I'd seen one Bond film before I made James Bond, which was the one before,
Just the one.
the one with Ava Green. So I was really naive, but I had an amazing time making it, and it was huge. I had no idea what I was letting myself in for, and we went to all these amazing locations, and I just was so... I think I just left drama school. It was like one of my first jobs. I think it was the first time I'd been on a really big film set, and yeah, I just... I was so naive, but I had the best time with for example, particularly the producers, Barbara Broccoli and Michael, their brother and sister, and they're the most generous, incredible people in the industry that they really are special. So I had a great time, even though I am baffled at how I didn't know how big Bond was.
And how was it to work with Daniel Craig?
Yeah, it was good. He's good. He's got a sense of humor, so that was good.
Yeah.
I remember I used to poke him a little bit, and I think that might have been why I got the job, even because I did a screen test with him, and I think I came on set and I said, "Hi," and he said, "Hi." I said, "You're not as tall as I thought you would be in real life," and he said, "That's really nice of you to say so." I honestly didn't think... I was joking with him, I didn't think I'd get it. And then I did.
Une autre question? Ah, pardon.
You are a woman of great value who has defended many causes, as we have seen through this exchange. Would you lend your help and strength to an independent, low-budget TV series that promotes values aligned with yours?
Sorry, I didn't quite understand. Was it...
In French, if you want.
Yeah,
I prefer.
please. Sorry.
Non, comme on l'a vu durant cet échange, vous êtes une femme forte qui défend beaucoup de choses, beaucoup de valeurs, vous avez beaucoup de combats, on l'a vu durant ce que vous nous avez pu dire avant. Donneriez-vous de votre temps, de votre aide, en tout cas de votre force, à une série TV qui défend exactement les mêmes valeurs que vous, une série indépendante à petit budget?
Oh, send me the script. It's all about the script.
Dernière question là-haut. Pardon, une première ronde d'abord.
Hi, Sarah Bovery from The Upcoming in the UK. You were mentioning about coming from humble beginnings and breaking into the industry. And perhaps we talk quite a lot about diversity in the industry and sort of gender balance, but I wanted particularly on the issue of class, and particularly in the UK, whether there is a lot of access and there are ways for people to enter the industry, or is this one area that perhaps has been not been looked at enough? And I don't know, when people talk about Nepo babies and the like, maybe it can sometimes feel very closed off. And what do you think could change to open it up to people from more different backgrounds?
Yeah, the class thing is, it is tricky. There is definitely a discrepancy there. And I feel like it's about what we did with getting female directors and female writers. I think there has to be a bit of box ticking for a while. Just making sure that when we're casting and crewing, that we're making sure we get regional people. This is very, very English based, I'm very sorry. And people from working class backgrounds that are, genuinely working class. Oftentimes it's, apprenticeships, getting people on set to, especially in camera and sound department, set design, just making sure that we try and get a program of working class people, that because sometimes they can't afford to go to these film schools, or or there's not enough scholarships or whatever. Same with me. Like the only reason I could go to RADA was because at the time I got a full scholarship, which they don't do anymore really. So there's, it meant that they could bring on some people from disadvantaged backgrounds. And it does stop working class people from going in that classical training route, because most working class actors are found. So they'll be like found at some workshop, like the Nottingham Workshop or something like that, or some of our most amazing actors come from these places, or they're found like in a casting call, a big casting call. But it means that they don't get a training, which I think is a really valuable thing to have as an actor. Anyway, so I think there needs to be like some sort of initiative actually to promote more working class voices in the film industry, big time. Because the ones that we do have are so incredible that, like when you watch the films of Andrea Arnold or Ken Loach, or, well, I don't know if he's actually, but the people in his films are usually working class. So it's like contributes so much to our artistic culture, but there isn't that much support for those people, especially like actors that are found. Sometimes they'll be in a film and be brilliant in a film, and then they don't go on to do anything else afterwards because they haven't got the support or the training that means that they can have a long career. So I think there's a lot more that can be done to get more working class actors in the industry, but also help them stay in it, not just do one job and then off.
Il y avait une autre question.
Hi.
Hello.
I was wondering, how did you first get into producing, and would you say that it's given you access to roles that you would have maybe not gotten otherwise?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got into it because my friend, who I made the Disciplines of Alice Creed with years ago, she was producer on it, and we stayed friends, and she just contacted me and said, look, do you want to create a company? And I was like, okay, And I guess I don't get like the best scripts in the world sent to me. I'm like there. I'm like 20 people below. So the roles that I'd love to play, often there's just no way that I'd ever be able to play them. So sometimes I will like activate that role that I'd like to play, or find something, or find a book or find a play that's how I get it done. So yeah. But it's a long process. I've learnt that over the years. Like, it doesn't happen immediately with producing. It's a long slog, and there's a lot of like red tape and things you have to jump over, and zeitgeists and all sorts. But it's really satisfying when it does happen. So I love it. That's the end of the answer.
Une dernière question? Non? Je vais la poser alors. You become a mother.
Yeah.
What does that change in your job?
Oh,
does that change something?
Yeah. I think my family life is like my world now, whereas before it was like work. So I think now it's made me hyper-focus on what I do want to do. Before I was quite like, I'll do that because it's with that director or that actor that I like, but maybe it's not the best thing for me. But now I think it's made me really specific about what I want to do, because if I'm going to be away from them, which I inevitably will, it's hard. But I think if I'm in it and I'm enjoying the work, then it's okay. So I'll probably do less things, but things that I really love. That's probably what will happen.
Thank you very, very much. And
Thank
sorry
you.
for my English
Oh
again.
no, his English is so
Merci
good.
à vous d'avoir été là.
Thank
Et
you.
merci Gemma.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone.